Hello there and welcome to the next episode in my Citroen Relay van build series. Today is a big day. We're going to start cutting some holes in the van. Yes, it's time to start fitting the windows. So in my van build I've decided to go with the Polyvision Aero Black windows available from Magnum Motorhomes. I've already done the two in the back, as you can see here, and we're now going to tackle the ones on the sides in the sliding door and the one on the opposite side. The reason why I've gone for these Polyvision windows is I quite like some of the features of them. If we just come in closer to the ones I've done on the back here. Once you've got it in, it actually sits fairly flush to the van, and when the window's actually closed, it's quite difficult to get your fingers under here to actually kind of pry this open, which I thought was quite a nice safety feature. Some of the other ones I've seen, there's quite a big gap here, and you can really get your fingers underneath to yank the window, which on these Polyvision ones isn't quite so straightforward. And also, once they're in, they're nice and dark and blackened from the outside, so to give a bit of privacy on the inside. So in this video I'm going to be tackling the one on the side sliding door, and I've already put some masking tape on the door and marked out where I want my window position to go. Here is the actual window in its box. So let's grab a Stanley knife and open it up and see what we've got. Okay, so it comes fairly well wrapped in bubble wrap with some nice heavy duty corners on. Let me get all this bubble wrap off and let's see what we've got inside. Okay, so here we are unpacked. So what you get actually in the box is obviously the window itself. You get the inside surround, which has the fly screen and the blackout blind, which is the pleated type. And fixing wise, you get 4 corners, we get the clips to hold it in, we get screws for fixing the inner piece with the corners, and 2 little plastic bits here. I've absolutely no idea what they're for, because the window doesn't actually come with any instructions, and the fitting instructions I've downloaded from Magnum Motorhomes don't mention those bits at all. So I'll place a phone call to Magnum Motorhomes. In the meantime, if you fitted one of these windows and you know what those 2 little cream plastic bits are for, do let me know in the comments below. That would be very handy. Tool wise for this job, I think I'm obviously going to need some screws for these, so I've decided to go for these number 8 3/4 inch self-tapping screws. And tool wise, I think I'm going to need pretty well what I've got here. So a big marking square, my Sikaflex and Carbond, and some gloves because that's some pretty horrible sticky stuff. Pocket hole jig for doing the wooden frame, and obvious things, tape measure, drill bits, and very old and rusty, but my compass for doing the corners. Right, let me explain now what I'm doing with this. Okay, so the instructions say to have a 75mm radius corner, which I've marked out on the side of my van like so. Now, I've seen lots of people on YouTube, they've just kind of haphazardly guessed at this by drawing around a flower pot or a bowl or a pot of paint and all sorts of things like that. Well, I'm going to try and do it the proper way using my compass. So the instructions from Magnum Motorhomes say it needs a 75mm radius corner. So what we do is, first of all, you set the compass to 75mm like so, and then you measure your straight lines across and go past the point where the corner is going to be until you get a 90-degree corner. And then all we do is, now because this bit is going to be on the outside of the window, I put plenty of masking tape down here so I don't damage the side of the van. And then all I simply do is put the compass on that point, and then on the masking tape, you can see I've already marked this, but on the masking tape you just slightly scribe the masking tape there and draw a pencil line. And then the same on the top, you can just slightly mark the masking tape there and draw a pencil line, which I've done. And then you move the compass to these points, so from there, and you draw a mark there. And then on the bottom one, and you draw a mark across it like so. You can see I've already done that with a pencil. And then what you do is you put your compass on that point. Now here you can push and hold on tight because this is going to be in the part that we're cutting out. And then from the bottom, again, you can scribe round, and all we're doing is just making an indent on the masking tape like so all the way around. And then once you've got your indent on the masking tape, you can then come with your pencil and you can draw in your line, and then you have a 75mm radius corner. I've got an sort of proper automotive compass here. Actually, a kiddie's compass with a point and a pencil will do the job fine, as long as you can set it and fix it at that 75mm gap. Anything will work fine. One thing I think was worth mentioning before I move this cover out of the way and make a start on the window is when you actually lift up the edging here, you've got, before you can see daylight through there, as you can see, I know it's a bit difficult on the camera because it looks dark, but you've got about 1 centimetre of play there before it comes apart, to allow for the thickness of the inner material that you're using, the paneling of whatever you're deciding to use. So you put your window in, you put your paneling in, and then this comes on over the top and you screw it on, and you've got a good centimetre of play there, which is quite nice. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is build my frame, but before I do that, I just thought I'd let you have a look at how these clips work. So again, I appreciate it's a little difficult to see because of the black here, but let's have a look. So around the side of the window, you've got this little groove here, and once you put your wooden framing on the inside of the van, these clips simply drop over like so, like that, and then the self-tapping screw goes through there and into the groove, and it just simply grips into that groove. So pretty straightforward and simple. Right, let's make this frame and see what we've got. It's a little awkward to measure right to the outside line here, and you do, from my experience of doing the back ones, need to leave yourself a couple of millimeters of play all the way around, and that will become apparent once we get this frame on the inside. And what you'll end up with when you've done this and it's fixed, if we go inside the van and have a look at the back ones, is okay, so what you end up with is something that's going to look like this. So we have our wooden frame all the way around the outside, which I fixed with the car bond. You can see it just squirting out there. Then the window sits through the hole, and then you put these clips in, and then the screw goes through into that groove that we mentioned just now, like so. Okay, so I've got my timber cut now. I've cut all the timber for both windows on both sides because the windows are exactly the same dimension. So now in these shorter pieces, I'm going to do my pocket holes using my pocket hole cutter. And the timber I've decided to go for is 27 by 34. So I'm going to go in that way around with a 27 depth and 34 width around the window, and I found on the back doors that worked pretty well. So let's get these pocket holes cut, and oh, look at that, a little Easter egg of a video that's going to be coming up fairly soon. Right, let's get these pocket holes cut. Okay, so the frames have been cut, the measurements have been checked, double checked and triple checked, so there's nothing else for it but to cut a big hole in the side of the van. First things first though, most important bit, safety goggles, because we are cutting metal and that's not good if it gets in your eyes. Trust me, I got the t-shirt and the video for that one, so this is the most important piece of equipment. Let's do it. Well, I'm absolutely plastered in little metal shards all over me. Trust me, safety goggles. Right, let's see if the window fits. Fits like a glove. Okay, so this is what we have on the inside now. Looking pretty nice. And just one more little job to do before we fit the frame is put the remnants of the strengthening beam on the inside here. Now when I put my wooden frame on, that's can stop that from sitting flush there, so I'm just going to cut that off. Now it will actually just sort of pull away here like that, so I'm going to get something down in there, and I'm just going to run an angle grinder along here just to trim that back so I can get my wooden frame on. So that's next. Okay, so we've now completed the next part of the job. I've painted around the edge with some hammerite paint just to cover that bare metal edge, and I've now fixed the wooden frame on the inside using well, everyone tends to use Sikaflex for this, but I use Sudol Carbond, which is basically the same thing, and I've got that all clamped up, as you can see, and on the inside we look like that. Okay, so we've got the window in now, and it's got quite a nice tight seal all the way around. There's some excess Sikaflex in places just to clean off, and it's recommended to use methylated spirits to do that. So we'll and lots and lots of paper towels. So we'll get that off in just a moment, and let's show you what it looks like from the inside. I have to say, to be honest, this one went a lot easier than the smaller ones on the back doors. So what does that tell you? These bigger ones, unless I'm just used to it, I don't know, but I found this much easier than those little diddly ones. And on the inside we've got 12 clips spaced around and sitting on this wooden frame, and the frame comes virtually flush with the edge of the window there, using the 27mm just simple planed timber that I got from B&Q. And you can see where I've numbered the places for the clips. That made life a lot easier, not having to refer to the instructions all the time. And let's just undo that. Let the window in, and closes like so. Alrighty, so it's a few days later now, and when editing this video I realised I had omitted a couple of what I think are fairly important bits, which I thought I would go over now. It's a really wet and wild day today, but the good news is I've checked all the way around and we are nice and dry on the inside, which is good. And since making the video of doing this window in the sliding door, I have also done the one on the other side exactly the same, which is all good. Right, now here's the bits I wanted to mention. From my experience of doing all these, and like in all cases, the more you do, the more proficient you get at it. And you might remember earlier on in the video, I mentioned about making your frame a little bit bigger than the actual window. And this needs to be by about 4mm, I would say. So you have 4mm of play that way and 4mm of play that way. If you're watching from America and you're not quite sure what 4mm is, then the best way to think about that is it's slightly more than a tad, but not quite a smidge, and then you bang on 4mm. But what that allows you to do when you've cut your hole for the window, when you put your frame on the inside, it rebates just very slightly from the metalwork, and it doesn't prevent the window from coming into the hole. You don't want it too tight because the wooden frame is going to get in the way and it's going to cause you problems. And also, by making it 4mm bigger, what I found on doing the one on the other side is, if you make your frame first with this 4mm of play, you can then hold the frame on the outside and then draw around the inside of the frame all the way around once you're happy with the position and the placement. And then that gives you your all important 90-degree corners to make your 75mm radius from. And then that also takes into account the width of the jigsaw blade and a little bit of play. So once you've done that, once you've cut your hole, the window is going to sit nicely straight through the gap, and it's going to butt up with about, I'm not sure if I can really get in here close enough, but in here I've got about 1 or 2 mil here, and over the other side about 1 or 2 millimeters in there. So the window came in nicely, the wooden frame didn't get in the way, and the clips still reach with plenty of meat on them, and the whole thing went together nicely. The reason why I'm making a point of this is because when I did the 2 little ones in the back door, I measured and cut the hole first and then made the wooden frame and tried to put it all together, and yep, you've guessed it, I made the hole too tight because I tried to be too accurate and the window wouldn't fit through the hole. So I spent 3 hours no less with a file filing away at the metalwork and the hole to make it big enough to get the window through, which was a complete and utter faff. So top tip is make the frame with 4mm play, put the frame against the van, draw around that, make your radius corners, and then cut your hole, and then the window will go in nicely. And also beyond what the instructions say, I actually used a real good thick dollop of Sikaflex on the lip all the way around. And actually what we got then is, again, I'll try and get in close, but it's a little difficult to see, I appreciate, but we've got a little bit of overspill in here, and there was plenty of overspill on the outside as well, which was perfect. That to me meant that it's really filled in the gap nicely and has made it watertight. And the methylated spirits and paper towels actually cleaned up the outside really nicely, so there's no worry about this sort of splodging out on the outside. Don't worry about that. The meths does a job really well, but I would recommend that you clean that up fairly quickly. Don't let it set. Certainly don't leave it till the next day, because although you can do it, it's just harder work. Okay, I think that just about wraps up this video. I hope you found that interesting and informative. If you have, please like this video and consider subscribing. It certainly helps the channel. That would be great. And let me know in the comments down below, what is your favourite method of measurement? The tad and the smidge is mine. Do you use a different one? Do let me know. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.